Hey there, welcome to another ZenFit tutorial. Today I'm just going to talk about simple squat. So the squat is one of the most important exercises that we can do. We use a squat every time we bend down to pick something up. It's one of the patterns, the movement patterns that we will use throughout our entire lives, from the time we're walking or standing alone as a child to the time that we're trying to stand and walk as an elderly person. It's one of the patterns that we need to make sure that we're absolutely keeping strong, mobile, flexible. The squat is a lot of the foundation of life. So the simple squat, it's very important to have a hip width or slightly wider than hip width stance. Some people will kind of advocate or ascribe to the toes being out. I personally don't think it's a big deal. Under a large amount of load, if you're back squatting or front squatting, then maybe we go out a little bit and bring the feet in. But just for a body weight squat, or using a kettlebell to do a goblet squat or a rack squat, something under, I would say, 50% to 60% of your max effort, I'm not too worried about that. I really want the knee to track over the first and second toe. That's the most important thing. The other thing that we want to really maintain or make sure of is that our chest is out, and that our sternum is up, and that our eyes are up. So shoulders are back, chest and eyes up, neutral spine in the head, and then we're going to go ahead and go into our squat. So the first movement with the squat is just to push the butt straight back. The profile view of that is as such: push the butt straight back. And as I do that, I stay nice and tall. That activates and arches my lower back quite a bit. I can keep my shoulders up. I like to keep my hands directly out in front of me as if I'm standing. My glutes are on when I'm standing. We want to make sure we go down, that back stays active so I can keep my back from rounding as long as possible. And ideally, I want to get my hip bone, which is right around here, as low as my knee, with my chest up, my back straight, and my head up. And then I return to the top position with the glutes on. So again, very simple. Butt goes straight back. The shins are going to stay vertical. Knees, as well as best we can, we're going to keep our knees over top of the ankle. Hands out, down we go. Try to keep our knees driving outwards. We're going to feel the heel, so our weight is going to be into our heel. Then stand up. And when we stand up, really want to feel the torque through the heel so that we're turning the femurs out. We're turning those legs out, squeezing through our glutes. Very easy. Okay, that's a simple squat. Some of the common faults that we'll find is rounding the back and having a difficulty keeping our back straight. So this happens a lot of times if we just don't have the conditioning in the low back, or if we're very tight in certain aspects of the hips. What you're going to find is when people go down, they round their back and they're unable to keep their back straight. This just doesn't happen because they don't have the flexibility. So one of the ways we can pattern that is really trying to focus on staying upright as long as possible. Maybe even keeping our hands on our shoulders and our elbows up top, very high, as we go down, and work that range to keep the chest up. And if you can only go down a little ways to keep that up, that's okay. Maybe you can go down and hold. That will help you gain the mobility that you need to get all the way down. And make sure that we come all the way up to the top. That's a very important part of the squat. I have seen many people actually just come up here. They're not fully closing out and extending the hip, just coming this high and then going back down. We want the knees and the hips to extend. The glutes are on. We're nice and tall. Boom. That snap at the end. It's a very important part of the squat. That is another ZenFit tutorial on the body weight squat.